Today's talk is all about blood sugars. Let's have a look. Now, every food has a method of ranking it by a glycemic index. And this is really useful for weight management tool, especially for menopausal women. And it's useful for making the right choices of foods. And what it does is it measures the quality and the digestibility of the food, well, and particularly the carbohydrates of the food. So this is a way that we can decide whether that food is going to digest slowly or quickly in our bodies, if it's going to emit lots of sugar or not into our cells. So that's really what it is. Now, you're not going to know this. Back in the old days, we used to have a little book with all the glycemic index for all the foods, but I'm going to teach you a really easy way of finding whether the foods give spike your sugar or keep it level for longer. So let's talk first about the hormone insulin. Now, insulin we talk about a lot in the menopausal years because it really is affected because it works with cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and this can really affect all of. So because our sex hormones are now awry, because they're lower than they used to be, especially if you're postmenopausal, cortisol is far more reactive. So that means that you get more snappy, you can feel stress quicker, you can worry more, you can just feel stressed in your body more. It's just a stress hormone that is triggered. Now, this very much works closely with insulin, and insulin is the hormone that regulates the sugar blood in our blood. So we want to keep this. So we want to keep the sugar coming through the body, but we need to use it in as efficiently as we can, and then we excrete it out of the body. But the trouble is, insulin, cortisol get stuck together, and they don't work as efficiently as they used to, and therefore more sugar is stored within the cells, and therefore we gain weight. Also, if there's too much, now insulin is like a little key. It opens the door to the cells to let the sugar in. Now, insulin sometimes gets lazy and just leaves the door open, and the sugar's just going in and in and in. Insulin doesn't shut the door again. So therefore we can lead to diabetes, which is not what we want. We do not want diabetes. It's not a very nice thing to have at all. Now, here I've put some readings of blood sugar levels that you would only find if you went to the GP. So the GP would take your blood, or your nurse or whatever, and then they would give you blood glucose levels. So a blood sugar that's less than 140 milligrams per something or other is normal, and then your readings of more than 200 is your actual diabetic. But now they also do a reading where it's between 140 and 199, which means that you're pre-diabetic, which means it's like a pre-runner to it, which at that point, if you get that reading, you can definitely do something with your lifestyle tips and changes that will make your body work better again with the blood sugar. So this is why it's really crucial that we know about this stuff, because apparently there's thousands of people in the UK who are pre-diabetic. They don't even know it, and they're tipping over the edge. So you're not really going to know this, but it's just worth eating in the better way anyway, and then we'll never even get to this point, will we? That's what we're trying to achieve anyway. So blood sugars. Now, some common symptoms here is that you might feel very thirsty. You might pee a lot. You frequently feel weak or tired, especially in the between meals. Blurred vision is when you're extensively full of sugar. And another one is you can lose weight or you gain weight much quicker than you normally think you would. And this is why we see at the menopausal years and beyond that we start to thicken up round the waist. This is a pretty big indicator that our blood sugars aren't being regulated as good as they could. Okay, so there's always work to be done here. This is not a pill to be taken. This is us making choices in our life that will really make a difference. Really, really make a difference. You're going to reverse it. You could actually reverse how your body reacts by doing stuff. So here's an example of your blood glucose levels throughout the day. Now, that little yellow zone there is where we want our blood sugars to be. So when you eat any food, your blood sugars will raise up because obviously you've got some energy going into the body and the cells need to be opened up with the key of insulin and let the sugar in. Then the body uses that for energy, and then obviously it excretes back out through pooing and weeing. Okay, and that's a nice, easy, that green line there on that graph shows that the body is doing that nice and correctly, nice and flat. Now, the purple line is if you eat something excessively sugary. So you'll find that it spikes very strongly. It has to open so many doors of the cells. There's loads of keys going out. It's like a little messenger. You go, quick, quick, she's eating too much sugar. Let's open the cell doors. And then after that, after you've eaten all the sugar, you then can really get a plummet of the blood sugar levels where you actually feel a bit wobbly and you really want more. You want some more sugar. You feel like you should have more sugar to get yourself back up with the energy. So it's this kind of surging and waning of your energy levels. You feel tired. You don't feel optimal. It's not good. So often, so there we are with the green line. If you're eating the low GI foods, you get likely to be much more level with your blood sugars. I mean, flatlining, you're never going to flatline, okay? But we don't want it to excessively spike. And then the purple line shows if you're having lots of sugary carbs, particularly, but also sugar in itself. Good morning. So here we are. There's another little graph that helps to understand this a little bit more as well. So you release your energy quickly and you feel hungry sooner, and then you eat more. And this is where we're peaking and troughing with our blood sugars. This is not ideal. We've probably eaten, toast and jam for breakfast. You eat it, and then about 11 o'clock, you feel, oh God, I'm hungry. I need some more food. So then you have a biscuit that goes even more. And then you have a coffee and that spikes it. And you're feeling a bit stressed because you're at work and you don't know what you're doing and it's too much to do, or there's just overwhelm. You feel overwhelmed anyway because we're menopausal, and often we can feel that anyway with either no reasons. And then off you go again. And that's how a lot of people work with their blood sugars throughout the day, and we don't even know it. But there isn't a better way. So look at the green square now. And here we've got releasing energy slowly. You feel fuller for longer. And therefore you eat less in between. Your energy levels are calmer. You feel generally calmer. You sleep better. Yeah, the very big one about the sleep. This big subject here about sleep, very much so. So if you were in the red box and that's what you do, and then at night you can't sleep, or you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning is kind of the guideline here. You wake up at 2 and you feel kind of hungry. I had a lady in the class once who actually kept some chocolate underneath her bed so that when she woke up at 2 in the morning, she could have a little block of chocolate and then she'd go back to sleep. Now, that isn't a healthy way to regulate your body or your blood sugars. It really isn't. And that's, you're heading towards, very much so, that you're heading towards diabetes there in a big way. So next one is, let's have a look at what best foods are. What are the best low GI foods, these low glycemic loaded foods? So anything that's unprocessed. If you think about it, processed food came around only in the 1970s. We had processed food, masses of it. It all came into our bodies, particularly breakfast cereals at this point. Had all these sugary breakfast cereals, and even if they weren't sugary, they were just processed to death. And we were led to believe that breakfast was the best meal of the day and we must eat breakfast. But Kellogg's made that line up, by the way. There was no research to suggest that at all. So anything unprocessed are your best food types. Whole grain. So whole grains, I got that right? Yes. So whole grains, so anything that's brown, got seeds in it, nuts, anything granary based, that's really good. Good quality vegetables, colourful ones as well. So have a range of colours there because the antioxidants also help with that blood sugar levelling. Certain foods, so you've got your apples, your citrus fruits, your pears and your berries. We'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. And good quality proteins, lentils, meats and fish. Really, really important, those proteins as well, especially for the menopausal woman, as we've talked about. Now, your worst foods are processed foods, like I just said. So anything really that's in a packet that's got loads of ingredient list. If you can't understand what's in the ingredients, think about it. Why are we eating that? White carbohydrates. So these are pastas, rice, potatoes, bread. They spike the blood sugar as if you're having a teaspoon of sugar. Do you want me to say that again? Because I don't think people understand that part of it. So white carbs, masses of pasta, right? Well, just any pasta, rice, potatoes, bread that's white. It's as if you're having a spoon of sugar, and particularly in the menopause and beyond years. This is where this changes. So probably when you were looking at your nutrition when you were 20s and 30s, you would probably be able to get away with having these things, and your body would shuttle that sugar around your body really quickly. But now this is the little link here that is a tricky one. And this is where we can gain a lot of weight around our belly fat area. So that's a really big point here. Now, sugar, any kind of sugar, that makes sense, doesn't it? But when I say sugar, people just think it's the white grains, the white granular sugar, but it isn't. It's honey, it's maple syrup, it's fruit. I just want to say that. It's fruit. Fructose is a sugar. Although it is a natural sugar, it still works in your body as if it's a teaspoon of granular sugar. Okay, so this is where the reason why last week when we were talking about snacks, I didn't want you to have the fruit, any fruit in between the meals. I want you to have the fruit at the meal time so that you're just digesting and all the sugar's going into the cell at the same time, and then it can shuttle out of the cell whilst you're resting, while your tummy is resting. Sugary drinks, let's think about those. Orange juice in the morning with your breakfast. Again, we've been sold a lie there. We say that it's good vitamin C in the morning when you're having your breakfast, but it's sugary. It's really sugary, and there's no even fiber or antioxidants in it at all. So try and kick that habit if you can. That orange juice is a really big one. Sugary drinks, like a bit of cordial, so sugary cordials, if you're having it really strong, that is. I mean, I'm always up for having a little tiny weak one if you need to, and that's the only way you're going to hydrate. But, think about that sugar that you're putting into your body just through the drinks. And alcohol is also sugary, or it affects your body as if it is sugar, okay? Because it is processed and it is a poison. And your body has to work hard at doing that. Now, remember, in the menopausal and beyond years, our body is at more risk of all sorts of things. It's not as quick as repairing. So we want to give it the optimal chance to do all of that. So we really want to get the poisons away from our body and the toxins, because it's got enough on its hands without having to do that, if you like. So first meal. Now, you're only as good as what you're eating, okay? So your first meal is really important. Now, I put first meal here because, like I said last week, you don't have to have breakfast if your body doesn't crave it, doesn't want it, or doesn't need it, or doesn't feel like it's ready for it. In fact, leaving your gut to rest, so fasting, so overnight fasting is a really good one. It's so good to help the body to optimize in so many different ways. We'll have to do another talk on that. But, so if your first meal is at 11 o'clock, absolutely fine. If your first meal is lunch, absolutely fine. But when you do have that first meal, make sure that it's got good hydration. So hopefully you've been drinking water anyway throughout the evening or morning or whatever. And you're nourishing it. So you're putting in some good protein. Proteins are really good leveler. So like I just said, if you want to snack in between the meals, then a protein snack is the way to go, because it will level out those blood sugars again. So things like a boiled eggs, really good, a little knob of cheese, a slice of ham from the fridge, a piece of chicken, this is really good to have at your first meal as well. So if it is a breakfast, eggs, smoked salmon, scrambled eggs, lovely meal. And it also helps to calm your stress levels if you do it this way. And make sure you add some whole grains in there as well. So your chia seeds, flaxseed, anything like that if we can. Get in some good protein and some good whole grains, and also maybe some vegetables at this point, Get some fiber into your life. Protein and fiber is the way to go for your first meal. Not loads of toast, loads of jam, croissants, things like that. This is like, this is sugar going into your body. So I know it sounds weird, but like you want a brunch type thing for your first meal, and then you set your body up for leveling out those blood sugars as it should. Like, let's have a look there. We want to get it level, like in the green box there. So a nice day would be the first meal to have something like, eggs with smoked salmon, or and with an avocado on the side, for instance. And then you should feel full then, really full. And you might not eat then again till the evening. You may only have 2 meals a day. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. As long as at the meal time you are filling your body with that fiber, the colourful vegetables, and some good protein. And that's how really we need to move on into that if we can. Now, I hope that helped, and you're a little bit more clear now on the blood sugar levels, and that helps you if you are doing my challenges every week. This is the route we're going, and this is where I'm leading you.